Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that affects every Canadian: the next federal election. When is it happening? Who are the key players? And what are the major issues that will define the campaign? Let's break it all down. First, let's talk timing. Officially, the next federal election is scheduled for on or before October 20th, 2025. This is according to Canada's fixed-date election law. However, as we've seen in the past, that date isn't set in stone. We live in a minority government situation where the governing Liberal Party, led by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, relies on a confidence and supply agreement with the New Democratic Party, or NDP, led by Jagmeet Singh. So, while the official date is over a year away, political analysts are always on high alert for signs that an early election call might be coming. Now, let's look at the main political parties and their leaders who will be vying for your vote. Leading the government is the Liberal Party of Canada, headed by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He's been in power since 2015. His government's platform will likely focus on their track record, highlighting initiatives related to climate action, social programs like the National Dental Care and Child Care Plans, and their handling of the economy through recent global challenges. Expect them to position themselves as the progressive, steady hand needed to navigate a complex world. However, they'll face tough questions about inflation, the rising cost of living, the housing crisis, and general government fatigue after nearly a decade in power. The primary challenger is the Conservative Party of Canada, led by the official opposition leader, Pierre Poilievre. Since becoming leader, Poilievre has focused his message squarely on common-sense solutions for everyday Canadians. His campaign will almost certainly be built around affordability issues. He consistently talks about axing the tax, referring to the federal carbon tax and cutting government spending to rein in inflation. He's also been a vocal critic of what he calls gatekeepers in bureaucracy, promising to streamline processes and make life easier for citizens and businesses. The Conservatives will aim to capitalize on voter frustration and present themselves as the party of fiscal responsibility and economic relief. Then we have the New Democratic Party, the NDP, led by Jagmeet Singh. As the party supporting the current minority government, the NDP has managed to secure several of its key policy goals, such as the initial phases of a national dental care program and anti-scab legislation. In the next election, expect them to argue that they are the ones fighting for working families and pushing the Liberals to be more progressive. Their platform will heavily feature themes of social justice, making corporations pay their fair share, expanding public health care to include pharmacare, and tackling corporate greed. Their challenge will be to differentiate themselves from the Liberals while also taking credit for policies they've influenced. Don't forget the Bloc Québécois, led by Yves-François Blanchet. The Bloc only runs candidates in Quebec and focuses exclusively on representing the interests of the province at the federal level. Their goal isn't to form a government, but to hold the balance of power and advocate for Quebec's autonomy and values. They'll campaign on protecting the French language, defending Quebec's jurisdiction against federal encroachment, and promoting Quebec's unique cultural identity. In a minority government situation, the Bloc can be an incredibly influential player. And finally, we have the Green Party of Canada, co-led by Elizabeth May and Jonathan Pedneau. As you'd expect, their primary focus is the environment and climate change. They advocate for a much faster transition away from fossil fuels and more aggressive climate targets. But their platform also includes a broad range of social policies like a guaranteed livable income and electoral reform. Their main challenge is to break through the noise of the larger parties and convince voters that environmental issues should be the top priority even amidst pressing economic concerns. So, with the players set, what are the battleground issues that will dominate the headlines and debates? Without a doubt, the #1 issue on everyone's mind is the economy and the cost of living. Inflation has hit Canadians hard, from the grocery store to the gas pump. Housing affordability is a crisis in nearly every major city and even in smaller towns. Parties will be judged on their plans to tackle these kitchen table issues. The debate will revolve around different approaches. The Conservatives focus on tax cuts and reduced spending versus the Liberals and NDPs. Emphasis on social programs and targeted relief. The second major issue is healthcare. Our system is under immense strain. Canadians are dealing with long wait times for surgeries, a shortage of family doctors, and overcrowded emergency rooms. Voters will be looking for credible plans to fix this. This is where the federal and provincial governments often point fingers at each other. But federal funding and national programs, like the promised pharmacare, will be central to the election debate. Third is climate change and the environment. This is a deeply polarizing issue in Canada. On one side, you have calls for more aggressive action to meet our climate goals. With a focus on carbon pricing and transitioning to a green economy. The debate will be about finding the right balance between environmental protection and economic affordability. Housing will be a standalone critical issue. It's tied to the economy, but its scale demands special attention. The dream of homeownership feels out of reach for millions of young Canadians, and rental costs are skyrocketing. Where should they be built, and what is the federal government's proper role in what is largely a municipal and provincial jurisdiction? Finally, public safety and justice will also be a key theme. The parties will offer different philosophies, from the Conservatives' tough-and-crime approach to the more socially focused, root-cause-oriented strategies of the NDP and Liberals. So, as we look ahead to the next Canadian federal election, whether it's in 2025 or sooner, these are the dynamics to watch. Your vote is your voice, and being an informed voter is the cornerstone of our democracy.